JP Seabright. JP Seabright, she, they, is a queer writer living in London. They have 3 pamphlets published, Fragments from Before the Fall, an anthology in the post-Anthropocene poetry by JP Press, the erotic memoir No Holds Barred by us, Lupercalia Press, and Gender Fucks, a collaborative poetry pamphlet by Nine Pens Press. Machinations, a collaborative work exploring the life and work of Alan Turing with a range of experimental and AI-generated text, will be out later this year from Trick House Press. They were nominated for a Pushcart Prize in October 2021. More of their work can be found at jpseabright.com and via Twitter at errormessage. JP, your chapbook blew me away, as all of the others had, but this piece is prose primarily, and we really, really wanted to have a range of different kinds of writing. And yeah, I can imagine, Embry, it was great to work with a book with prose in it, and really this is the kind of work that Lupercalia was created for. Just this kind of sexy, erotic beauty that really celebrates every facet of the trans body and the queer experience. So I will pass it over to you, JP Seabright, and you will do with that as you will.
Venus, thank you so much for that, and lovely introduction. And yeah, well, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's here. We're a small select group, but you know what? It's so appreciated that you're here, and I feel it's so important now more than ever to celebrate and hear trans voices and trans stories. So I have to say it really means a great deal that for those of you who've joined us this evening. So thank you so much for that. And particularly important for, I think, queer and straight allies, of course, to support trans people, particularly right now, who are going through a really, really tough time. So I just wanted to say that. And thank you again. I mean, No Holds Barred, just I don't know, I've got my thing on, sorry, can't see the beauty of that. It's an amazing cover. Thanks again to Embry for kind of producing something that looks so gorgeous. And I think Venus, you sort of described this when it came out as a sexy, raunchy, erotic memoir of sorts, which feels hugely flattering, because I don't think I was intending to write that. You know, I just wrote a few stories about stuff about my life, and like when I saw this fall out, I kind of thought, oh, I'll put them together, send them off, see what happens. So when it was accepted, it was a bit like, yay, and then it was like, oh fuck, that's quite personal. So but it's been great, and I really appreciate it. So as Venus said, this is prose. So this is 4 short stories that are kind of connected with a sort of poem that runs through it, which I'll mention a little bit. So I can't read all of it. I'm going to read one of the stories, and then if we're good for time, I'm just going to read a couple of other short things afterwards. So the stories kind of take you on a journey, I suppose, of exploring sexuality, gender, identity, from kind of first coming out to kind of relationships that become a bit toxic, you know, all that kind of stuff, and then sort of exploring perhaps the wilder side of polyamory and sexuality and that sort of thing. So it kind of takes the reader on a journey. I'm actually going to start with the first story. So it's relatively vanilla compared to some of the others, let's say, which I think was possibly the first story I ever wrote. Obviously, it's been updated, and I'm hugely grateful for Kat Blair, who was the editor I worked with on this and has helped me improve them no end. So yeah, I actually kind of wrote this in an attic room originally at uni, kind of pretty much straight after it happened. So this is called Weekend Pick-Me-Up. This story of sorts begins all out of sorts on the Friday night before the morning after. This Friday feeling is the familiar queer fluttering of hope, happiness, and passionate fulfillment. The possibility of spending the weekend doing something different with a body less indifferent. It starts in a bar in the fashionably seedy part of town, wearing charity shop go faster stripes, drinking overpriced red stripe lager, while sending keen glances to all the dancing queens. It finishes 4 hours later in a club in one of the unfashionably sordid, downright dodgy parts of this small provincial city. A club packed with dykes in drag, businessmen in bras, and plenty of sex, lycra and sellotape sticking our suspect sexualities together. The friends I'd arranged to meet pulled out at the last minute, but by now I have pulling in mind and I have to go it alone. At the door of the club, not once, peer through the keyhole, the buxom bouncer eyes me suspiciously. In this town, queers only play out with peers, for fear of recrimination. The club is hot, but the girls are not, and my casual fuck me looks are returned with serious fuck off stares. I have no luck at all. I walk home, stoned, cold, tired and lonely, kicking myself for having missed another opportunity for a little weekend pick-me-up. A night on the town often results in too many tears, not enough beers, and as the years go by, I'm not getting any prettier, just colder and tireder. Once home in bed, the ceiling whirling around my head, I stare into the gloom while the big lights and bright city burst into the room. I'm still thirsty for a drinking partner. I crave a friendly raver, someone to share the limelight on a lager and lime night. Saturday. If only I had a hangover, at least then I'd have an excuse for self-abuse. But instead I've got hang-ups, which aren't so easy to sleep off. All that is needed to complete my sense of self-pity today are cigarettes and the weekend newspapers. As any drama queen will tell you, the first drag of the day is a beautiful thing. Though I've been a fag hag in my time, in my before life, in my closeted, hetero-speculative version of myself, I'd never inhaled, so there was no permanent damage. I leave the unchristened sanctity of my attic room and walk down the stairs, hoping to avoid the stares of my housemates on this weekend walk of shame, caught empty-handed with no last night lover in tow. No love bites or lost keys or scribbled phone numbers to show off one's queer credentials. I tread lightly. The stairs creak, but I know their weaknesses. I am stealthy and nimble as a panther in heat. Outside, I take a deep breath, air as fresh as polluted city streets provide. I prefer to walk my surrogate city, this home away from home, at night time, in order to explore its secrets, its hidden parts. I uncover it slowly like a newly discovered lover. I return time and time again to the city's erogenous zones, sometimes with the force of a heat-seeking missile. I fling myself brazenly upon its decadent, undiscovered nooks, its dark and sticky, dangerous corners. But that was last night. I missed my chance, lost my oomph, returned to my single, unmade bed, unladen, unlaid, and unloved. Now I need something to soothe my despondency and improve my disposition. In the corner shop, Ahmed raises his eyebrows at me as I enter. Last night I was here buying cheap fortified wine with which to lay down a foundational layer of inebriation in my comfort of my own home, before I set out to roam the streets for affordable drinking dens. It's almost as though he's expecting me. Ahmed places a cigarette lighter on the counter in front of him, one of those cheap translucent ones, yellow. It's not a colour I'm keen on. Its glare is particularly garish this morning, clashing with my headache. I may mention this when I get to the till. I smile at him and wave my hand in a vague gesture, half hello, half I'm still looking. I am still looking, but I don't know what for. Biscuits, perhaps? More Earl Grey tea? Do I need a carbonated, caffeinated beverage to perk up the rest of my day? No, I think not. I would only be making promises to my body that I am not able to keep. I'm still looking for something, something to ease the growing hunger inside, something to get me through another night, something. And then I find it. She walks in, and I look up. She is radiant. She is the sun and the moon and the stars, and she is looking at me. I look down at the gum-studded shop floor. I'm not looking my best. I'm wearing hangover chic, holey jeans, baggy t-shirt, and flip-flops. The Friday night flutter returns. My heart stutters and stops. What should I do? I should run and hide and never return to the shop, the street, or the city ever again. Panic flashes across my face while sweat trickles down my back. I raise my eyes again, slowly, nervously, hoping she hasn't noticed and has moved away. But she has not moved away. She takes a step closer. She is smiling at me. Hello. Hi, I reply, gulping back decades of gay shame and disappointment. I saw you last night. Did you? Comes my stuttering reply. At the club. Oh, I offer uselessly. Do you go there? And then I stop, aware that my already apparent idiocy is about to turn into sectionable lunacy. Because she has taken my hand. I follow where she leads me, leaving my no longer required lighter on the counter. I feel lighter, somehow. Kiss me, and I do. Take me, she says, back to your place, and I do. Fuck me, and I do. I fuck her all afternoon and into the star-spangled night. And at 3 a.m., exactly 12 hours since her eyes first transfixed mine, she gets up. I have to go. And she does. Into the star-crossed night. Call me, she said, and I. Thank you. That's the ending of that, kind of deliberately left ambiguous. If we've got time, I'm going to read one of, so this book has got, as I said, 4 short stories, but between them there are, I suppose, poems, but they're sort of found poems in that they're reflecting on the text. So they use some of the text in all of the stories as a way to kind of run a thread through it and kind of connect them. So after each story, there's like a little poemy bit that kind of incorporates bits from the whole work. So I'm going to read one of these. It's very short. I will lick my lips, parade our love, a 2-fingered salute, far from the push and shove, red in tongue and cunt, with a subtle, silent, passionate violence. You will show me the city's erogenous zones, crossing boundaries, crossing over, passing, beyond, into the star-spangled night, again and again, this queer fluttering of hope, punishment demanding release, again and again, with reason and meaning, memories and dreams. Okay, so if we've got time for one very quick one, what I'd like to read is actually a poem that's not in here, but is in one of Lupercalia's anthologies. Now, if you've not read any of them, these anthologies are amazing. And I was lucky enough to have a few poems selected and published in their Vulcanalia release, which was August, I think. So I want to read just one short one there, which sort of feels like a nice way to end on things, or at least my reading. This is called Parade. We are confetti, dancing in the slipstream of haulage trucks, grinding their gears for dancing boys, waving day-glow penises, high on helium, bopping from poppers and rainbow lager fizzled with sunshine. Breathless with happiness, our whistles slicing the world in two. Us and them. Where us is every queer, all colours of the rainbow and then some, spectrum of light and love today, even the police and usual protesters will not shame our pride and sense of injustice, when every parade, public display of affection is still a protest and petition for basic human rights. Thank you.
Thank you so much, JP. That was incredible. And thank you also for bringing up the anthologies. We have 3 out. One was just released called Veneralia, which is a issue highlighting high femme work. We have Vulcanalia, which JP was featured in, and then Saturnalia. And Saturnalia was made up of some of the chapbook pieces that did not become selected for publication, but were still glorious. So please check those out. JP, thank you again. No Holds Barred is essential. Queer reading, incredible. And then I'll end out with just a couple